Welcome to Sporadic Phantoms. My name is Robin.
I'm Stevie.
And I'm Kyle.
We can't tell you our last names out of fear of retaliation. In our last episode, we all went to an amusement park/zoo called The Gardens.
I chaperoned Maddie and her friends on the trip. Some teenage full members, Jess and Tom, tagged along with our group, and both of them were talking with Maddie a lot about becoming a full member.
Maddie, you would make an awesome full member. You should join the academic track after the camp is over. You'll breeze right through it. Actually, I bet they'd fast track you if you wanted.
We also were able to interview zoo vet Dr. Michelle Green, who confirmed that the sound I heard in the Sharing's basement was indeed a tiger.
It's muffled, but it sounds like a tiger to me. Aggressive, defensive.
Dr. Green said that was most likely part of an illegal pet trade scheme, and she gave us some contact info for places where we can file an anonymous report about it.
There's just no way I can conclude that the issue is animal testing. But the illegal pet trade is still very serious. Here, let me write down some organizations for you.
And I overheard a conversation between Tom and Hedrick. They seem to be talking about Maddie for some reason. And Elizabeth. And the Sharing's president, Peter Stinton. It seemed like Mr. Stinton gave them a directive to carry out some kind of plan.
He wants it done tonight. That's all I care about. And that's the whole point of all this.
Then I have to get between them.
Do it. Let's not waste Mr. Stinton's precious time.
But when we got back to the community center, I had to monitor some kids in the dining hall with another adult chaperone. And the second I turned my back, Maddie wasn't there. Where's Maddie?
Okay, I'm not sure exactly, but
Where's Maddie? Luckily, she didn't go far. I saw her with Tom in the hallway by the basement door, where I had taken an audio recording right before they showed up.
Sorry, Aunt Stevie. Tom said he wanted to hang out with me and talk away from the other people.
I'm a full member. Of course Maddie can come and chat about membership stuff with me if she wants.
But by the time we all met up in the studio that night, Stevie's recording was gone. Deleted.
I swear, human screams. But the recording isn't here at all.
We must have gotten hacked.
Possibly. And speaking of hackers, last month there was a virtual sharing event which ended up getting hacked by someone or some group that claimed the sharing was a dangerous cult. Do they have information that we don't know about? We have several points to cover in this episode.
Point 1. The tiger.
Let's be realistic. Is our one recording really enough to give to the FBI or this whistleblowers group?
Maybe not, but it might be enough for one Fish and Wildlife Service person to take a look down there. That might be all we need.
If they go in, the sharing will for sure know that someone is on to them, if they don't know already. How else will the FWS get access to the sharing's basement? They would have to get Hedrick to take them down there.
Or would it be a raid, and they'd come in and bust the door down?
I don't think it would come to that. I can't imagine Hedrick not cooperating with law enforcement. And we don't have any evidence of a large-scale operation. For all we know, there's just one animal that they'd take to a wildlife sanctuary.
They'll find more than that.
They could. But you're right, Stevie. We don't exactly have evidence of animals being bought or sold. A lot of that stuff takes place online, and I know all three of us have been looking for any signs of animal trade connected with the sharing on the internet. I haven't found anything on Craigslist. Anyone else?
Nope, nothing.
An operation like this, it's not a typical animal trade operation. I don't think they would go through Craigslist. They're smarter than that. And we're dealing with some majorly powerful people, not your average Joe Exotic.
Let's just hope that we have enough evidence to get someone to at least take a look.
Okay, look on the FWS website. It says that a woman reported one instance where she saw someone putting turtles in the trunk of a car. That led to the FWS uncovering a huge multi-state illegal trafficking scheme, and they found incriminating evidence online too. Just one person speaking for a couple of turtles made a positive impact on local wildlife. In this case, we were able to recognize her contributions with a $1,500 reward through the Lacey Act reward account, all while maintaining her anonymity. It's totally going to work.
How do we want to do this? We can email them or call their tip line.
Well, we need to email them the sound file.
We should try to remain anonymous, but it would be good if we could try to talk with the actual person who will investigate the tip. So maybe we should call them too.
Yeah, we need to know the results of the raid.
Assuming they will conduct a search at all.
Okay, let's do this.
You have reached the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service Law Enforcement Tips Hotline. If this is an emergency, please hang up and dial 911. Any information you provide on this call will be forwarded to the appropriate law enforcement official. Please stay on the line, and someone will assist you in just a moment.
U.S. Fish and Wildlife.
Hi, I can't tell you my name. It's too risky, and we have to be careful. Really careful.
No need to state your name. This is an anonymous tip line. Would you like to report a wildlife crime?
Yes.
Okay, what are the details of the crime you witnessed?
Okay, so I'm part of an investigation into this organization called The Sharing, and I followed this hawk into their community center, and now I'm pretty sure they're keeping a tiger in their basement.
Okay, what was the date that you witnessed the crime taking place?
April 24th, in the evening.
What was the location where you witnessed the crime?
The Sharing. The address is... It's this big, modern-looking community center. You can't miss it. I was right at the door to their basement.
Did you witness anybody committing the crime?
Well, no.
Did you see any vehicle used to transport wildlife on the premises?
No.
Did you physically see any evidence of wildlife living on the premises?
Not visually.
So, did you witness any crime?
Yes, I have evidence. I recorded a sound. A zoo veterinarian confirmed that it was a tiger.
Okay. Please email us any files that could be used as evidence to fws_tips@fws.gov. You can put your tip number in the subject of the email. Your tip number is...
Okay, so that's it?
I'm going to forward your tip to a local fish and wildlife special agent who will be able to look into it.
Am I able to communicate with the agent about this? Will they tell us what they find?
You can check back and reference your tip number, and someone related to the case will be able to update you about whether or not you will be eligible for a reward.
Oh, no. We aren't motivated by any reward. See, there's likely much more at stake, because we know the Sharing is a front for an illegal animal testing and weapons development scheme, and they're putting brain implants in red-tailed...
Kyle!
I mean, we just want to make sure the tiger is okay.
We can't guarantee that your tip will lead to any particular outcome, but you're welcome to check in on the progress of the case, okay?
Okay. Thanks.
You have a good one, and thank you for calling the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service Law Enforcement Tips Hotline.
Now what?
I say we call them tomorrow morning. Give it at least 24 hours.
Sure. You're right. Let's wait till then.
In the meantime, let's move on to our next point. We'll get back to our tip with the FWS later in the episode.
Point 2. The live event. On May 15th, The Sharing had a live event over Zoom. They opened it up to anyone interested.
Hedrick talked about upcoming events and basic information, and talked about their plans for expansion into other cities. Even internationally, Elizabeth gave a somewhat biased presentation on the Sharing's history and BU Now.
They had an icebreaker and breakout room sessions to make it more community-oriented. They didn't record the breakout rooms, but I recorded my sessions.
I really relate to owls, but I've always felt a little bit more like a squirrel. It's just I don't know. I just always felt it was the a good balance of sort of industrious but also playful. Our national animal is the bald eagle, but Ben Franklin wanted it to be the turkey. Do you guys know that?
Kyle, what do you think of instant oatmeal?
In general, I like a good oatmeal, good granola, and maple syrup is a great way to sweeten something naturally. Again, nice and vegan.
You'll want to stock up on some, just in case.
Oh, is there a shortage?
Yes. You don't know it yet, but it may be useful in the future.
Is this kind of like how everyone was stocking up on toilet paper not that long ago?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Well, I don't want to be short on oats, that's for sure.
Sounds like you had fun, Kyle. Make any new friends?
I was on high alert the whole time.
While Kyle's breakout sessions clearly help our investigation immensely, there's another part of the event that really shocked all of us. You can see that the sharing has put a video of the event on their website. But notice how it stops abruptly during the Q&A. Here's why. Here's what really happened at the end of the event.
Hi. Yeah, thanks for taking my question. So everything you've talked about today sounds really fantastic, especially the BU Now program. But I've never really been a joiner, and like group things kind of freak me out sometimes. I'm really introverted, and I wanted to know if you had anything to say for someone who is interested but maybe a little hesitant to join.
Of course. Don't worry too much about being an introvert. I used to be myself. In fact, the sharing has kind of helped me get over that. You'll find people from all walks of life here, introverts, extroverts, and in between.
If you value your life, don't join the sharing. The sharing is a dangerous cult. Don't trust anyone.
Tom, can we get this muted?
Again, if you value your life, do not join the sharing. The sharing is a dangerous cult.
The Zoom session suddenly ended there.
You know what this means.
That this hacker, who called themselves Share the Truth, must be an ex-full member who saw the truth of the sharing. That's fairly obvious.
No, think about it. This event focused on Elizabeth talking about BU Now. The hacker is someone aligned with Stinton trying to delegitimize BU Now.
Share the Truth didn't just say avoid BU Now. They said, if you value your life, avoid the sharing. The sharing is a dangerous cult.
Guys, I don't know. We don't have any information about ex-members of the sharing. Robin, did you find anything about that?
I've been looking online for months for news articles, anything on cult education websites, YouTube, TikTok, Reddit. I haven't been able to find any kind of story or expose from any ex-member. The sharing has probably scrubbed the internet for any negative mention of them. Maybe they've threatened people who have left.
It could be an ex-member, but if so, we don't know why they left.
So, what are we going to do about this? We aren't exactly hackers. We can't trace who this person is.
Besides waiting around and seeing if this hacker will make another appearance, we can try to get some hard evidence that the sharing is a cult.
I don't think cult is the right word to use here. Dangerous? Sure. But being involved in the sharing, I don't feel like I'm being persuaded to join a cult.
Speak for yourself, Kyle.
We don't know who this hacker is. Fixating on the cult idea could mean we're chasing up the wrong tree, if this hacker is on the wrong side.
Well, we did have evidence that at least something dangerous is going on, but we all know what happened to that. So, can we talk about point 3 for a minute? The deleted file. I heard it coming from the basement. Thank God it wasn't Maddie I was hearing. Actually, I've still been taking Maddie to the sharing, and nothing weird has happened since that night, as far as I can tell. It could be because though Nicole still isn't driving or doing much, she occasionally comes with me and Maddie to the sharing now. I still have to play chauffeur for a while, but I'm actually glad Nicole is going again. Because with the both of us around, maybe they won't think they can get away with trying to sneak Maddie off again like that, whether it's with Tom and Hedrick or Jess and Elizabeth. So, who could have deleted my recording? Someone who knew I recorded something that night. Maybe someone who knew I was going to play it for you guys at the studio later. But ultimately, it was someone who could access our Gmail account. After my file was deleted, we changed our passwords for everything. Gmail, website, Anchor, Patreon, Twitter, Discord, and we made a new shared drive.
We decided that from now on, we have to use a secondary email address that we can't divulge in this podcast.
That means we can no longer trust any tips we receive at sporadicphantoms@gmail.com. Sorry, everyone.
How long has the sharing known about Sporadic Phantoms?
They still don't know we're connected with it, right?
Not necessarily, but we have to assume that they at least know about the investigation, and that they could be listening to us right now.
How would they even know about the investigation?
Who knows? They probably Google themselves all the time. Or someone told them.
Who?
I don't know. Maybe Nancy Candleton.
Or Elizabeth Lee, or someone who's connected to them.
Elizabeth doesn't know about the podcast.
She could know about it now.
Only if the file was deleted by the sharing as a whole, which would mean all the full members would know about it. But if it's one person acting alone, I know she wouldn't be the one to delete it.
We have to consider the possibility that everyone in the sharing could now be aware of our investigation. But who could have exposed it to them?
If the sharing didn't just find the podcast by chance, of the people we know who already knew about the sharing for sure, it could really only be Nancy who leaked us. Outside of the three of us, that is. I mean, maybe Nancy deleted my file.
Nancy was in the Zoom event. If the two hacks were done by the same person, it couldn't be Nancy. And I think that Nancy proved during the Zoom that she is not exactly an expert at technology.
You think Share the Truth and our Google Drive hacker are the same person?
Don't you think these hacks could be linked? I mean, what are the chances of two rival hackers getting mixed up with both us and the sharing?
I know it sounds strange, but how could it make sense if it's just one hacker? One was warning everybody about the sharing, which is also what we're trying to do. The other hack got rid of our evidence, which could have helped to prove what the hacker was saying in the Zoom. How else could these two hacks be linked? Oh, the sharing could have thought that Sporadic Phantoms was Share the Truth, and they could have deleted our evidence in what they thought was retaliation.
If the sharing wants to retaliate, don't you think they would have put in the effort to find out who we are and taken us to court by now?
I don't know. Maybe you recorded the one thing they wanted to hide the most. They could have listened to every file we put in that drive. But this was the only file they deleted. Maybe other than that file, they don't think anything else we have is a credible threat to them.
Or maybe there's someone who wants to hide part of what's going on in the sharing. And they're okay about having us expose other things? They could just be trying to steer the investigation in a particular direction.
Well, what could this say about the recordings that we still have? Well, okay, let's think about what we've learned from our recordings. A, the full members speak in some kind of code. B, BU now has some seriously disturbing psychological practices,
says the expert psychologist.
C, though I can't believe I have to admit that this actually seems like a possibility, there appears to be some kind of animal in their basement.
The tiger. Maybe the hawk still too.
D, Tom and Hedrick had a conversation showing us that they're taking orders from Peter Stinton, and that Peter Stinton takes interest in how each person in the sharing is handled, even the kids.
That brings us to point 4. Tom and Hedrick. Kyle, can you play the first part of your recording of their conversation?
Can we take her tonight?
Stop there. When I first heard this, at first I didn't realize who they were talking about, but now I'm certain they were talking about Maddie. So the question is, take Maddie where? For what? If it was just Tom taking Maddie away from the rest of the kids to go talk, we might assume it was typical teenage shenanigans.
But Hedrick's involved.
And Peter Stinton is involved.
Yeah, this wasn't even Tom's idea. He was just trying to convince her to follow him somewhere to take her away from Jess and from Elizabeth.
It sounded like they could have been told to fast-track her and make her a full member that night. I know it's clearly to stop Maddie from being interested in BU now, but why would they care so much?
They would care if there's more to full membership than we know about. Which, yeah, I'm pretty sure that's the case, since they're all so vague about it.
So Tom was leading Maddie to their meeting, you think?
Tom led Maddie to the basement door, and I happened to run into them there, but I don't think that's where their meeting was.
What I don't get is that if they were planning on taking Maddie to the basement, why were they not coordinating with Elizabeth? Jess, aka the lackey as they called her,
Yeah, that was weird.
was trying to dissuade Maddie from going with Tom that evening. But we know that BU Now is our closest link to possible human trafficking in the sharing.
It makes you wonder, what really were Elizabeth and Jess's plans for Maddie that night? What if Tom was just trying to hide Maddie during the meeting to keep her away from Jess and Elizabeth, who were up to something worse than signing her up for a long-term workshop?
I don't know. That still leaves the question of Stinton's orders. Unless Elizabeth's secretly running the whole show and they're all under threat from her.
Like I've said many times, guys, Elizabeth is not the bad guy. It's Stinton who is ordering everyone around. What Elizabeth said the other night all but confirms that.
Really? What did she say?
Can you play the recording of the conversation you had with Elizabeth?
Well, Okay, here's what I have.
Hey, Lizzie Bear. Can I talk to you for a minute?
Hey! I'm sorry, Kyle. I have to get to this meeting. They need me there.
Liz, wait a second. Are you okay?
I'm fine, Kyle. Of course I'm fine.
Okay. I was just noticing that you seem kind of stressed out lately.
I've just had a ton of work lately. New BU Now members, and there's this benefit thing coming up. You know how it is.
I know you work so hard, but Liz, is that the only thing? Has something else been bothering you?
Like what?
Like, I know you must be under a lot of pressure, right? Maybe not just from being busy. Listen, I can tell when something's bothering you. You get those tense eyebrows.
Kyle, yeah. Plenty of things have been bothering me.
Liz, you can tell me.
What do you want me to say, Kyle? It's just sharing stuff.
Liz, has Peter Stinton been giving people direct orders to try to stop you? To take down BU Now? To not talk about things that are going on in the sharing? Is he trying to control you somehow? What's really going on, Liz?
Kyle, Yes.
Oh, Liz.
He's...
Where's the rest of it?
I stopped recording. I didn't feel comfortable secretly recording Elizabeth, especially after she got so emotional. I haven't felt good about recording her for a while now.
What are we supposed to do, Kyle? She's a major player in this investigation.
Go ahead and record her all you want. but I can't record our private conversations anymore. I can relay to you guys what she says to me, and you're just going to have to take my word for it. And you both are going to have to finally accept that we care about each other. That fact doesn't change anything about my commitment to taking down corruption in the sharing. Period.
It's the definition of bias. You have to admit that there's no way you can remain impartial if you continue to date her. There's more to Elizabeth than meets the eye, and you know it.
Hey, if she's giving him more of a reason to care about getting to the bottom of this, then I say that's a plus.
You're right. There is more to Elizabeth. She's a deeply sensitive person. And you know what she said after I stopped recording? Through her tears, she said that yes, Peter Stinton has been trying to take down BU Now ever since Lord David Altman died. Probably before that. And that she, all of them, have to watch their backs around that guy. I'm sure they all know the sharing is a front, but can't talk about it because they're being threatened by Stinton. Also, ever wonder why no one ever talks about how Altman died? He was a pretty young, healthy guy, you know. Elizabeth didn't say it directly, but she heavily implied that the sharing doesn't want anyone to know how he died because Stinton had him killed.
Had him killed? Over what? His philosophies?
Stinton had other ideas for the sharing, to make it a front for the animal testing, illegal trade, experimentation, etc. Stinton saw the opportunity and seized the sharing from Altman after initially gaining his trust. And, for the record, I obviously didn't tell her that I recorded Tom and Hedrick's conversation. But after that night, I have the feeling that if she secretly does know about the investigation, I think she would want us to help her. But she couldn't say too much. There's a lot of surveillance around that place. Types of surveillance you'd never expect. That's why the members have to talk in code. It's why they have different nicknames.
Nicknames?
Yeah, we just heard it in Kyle's recording. Lizzie Bear.
Nicknames like Hedrick says in the Nocturama recording. I'll play the part where he says it.
I don't answer to Elizabeth.
Elizabeth's nickname is Corin or Corant or something.
Where do those nicknames even come from?
I don't know if they come from anywhere, but Elizabeth has some of them in her phone contacts. I could tell they weren't just regular last names because they usually had some number after them. Not like a phone number, just 3 or 4 digits, like part of a code name.
Jeez, what else do you know about the full members' secrets, Kyle?
About as much as you do. Believe it or not, Elizabeth doesn't tell me secret stuff about the sharing. I was surprised she said as much as she did about Stinton.
She keeps a lot of secrets for someone who's all about revealing the true self and no hiding.
That's not fair to say. She's under threat by a powerful man.
Sure, if that's all true. I'm getting mixed messages about her. Who is she, really? This leads us to point 5. Be you now.
So, how has it been?
Well, it hasn't exactly been like what we heard from that recording of Elizabeth.
See? I knew you'd see it was fine.
It's not that it's fine. It's just that Elizabeth hasn't revealed that side of herself in the sessions. Yet. But I've only been there a few times. Jess had already been going for months by the time that recorded session happened. I know Elizabeth's leading up to something, and it just makes me feel sick in the pit of my stomach. It's like everyone in the group is really nice, and everyone is really into it. And I go along with what we're doing, and I feel this sense of alienation, like I'm the only one in the room who just has this anxiety and this dread because I'm faking it, and I know something awful is going to happen, and I'm constantly asking myself if people can tell that I'm faking it. And at the end of the sessions, everyone feels so connected, and they're basically in this cuddle pile, and they're grabbing each other's feet and laughing, and I just feel like I'm about to hyperventilate.
Robin, relax.
Hey, you're an investigator. You don't need to take it so seriously.
Yeah, I guess. I just don't want to get kicked out. I have to stick around to see what Elizabeth wants, and what the sharing wants.
You think she would kick you out?
Possibly. If she senses that I'm not all in.
Makes sense. She doesn't want to waste her time if she sees someone's not taking it seriously.
Well, it's either that, or she would try even harder with me. I really don't want her to do that either. Of course, now, she could know that I'm working against her organization and we're all screwed.
Not necessarily, Robin. Like I said, she would probably welcome you trying to get to the bottom of corruption in the sharing, because she's not in a position to do it herself. She knows you won't find it in BU now, but if she knows about our investigation, she knows that you have good intentions.
Time will tell if she and the rest of the sharing know about us or not. I know it's a weird moment in the investigation, but we might as well carry on as we normally would. So you have a new recording from BU now, right?
Well, it's not exactly from BU now, but I do have something. The first time I went to BU now, I tried recording the session.
Come on in. Hi, welcome. Hi, how are you? You can put your things on the table. Shoes under the table, please. Thanks. Everyone, we're entering a special space, and this is a no distraction environment. And since asking to turn your phones off isn't always a 100% reliable method, Jess is going to come around with the phone bucket.
So unless I can find a way around the phone bucket, I'm not going to be able to get any footage of the sessions.
That is really disappointing.
I know. And this is why it sucks that you won't record her anymore, Kyle.
So we don't get more recordings of her.
It's not going to be the end of us recording her. It just makes it more difficult.
How are we going to be able to get any footage of her?
There are other opportunities. I do have another recording of her. After my 4th session, after I got my phone back, and after everyone else left, Elizabeth asked me to stay behind to chat.
Have a seat. Get comfortable. I just wanted to check in. How has this been for you?
Good. Fine. Great. I'm learning a lot.
It can be a lot at first for those who are just starting out. Robin, I was wondering, the visualization homework everyone was given, did you actually do it?
Yeah, I did.
Oh, okay. Maybe I'm wrong, but in the session when we went around the room giving our reflections, when I asked you about it, I noticed that your response was really vague. So that made me wonder if you even did the assignment.
I did the visualization. Do we have to share our journal entries?
It's not just about producing something or checking boxes. It's about absorbing the curriculum. You are choosing to do this, and in that, there's also some accountability that's needed. But no one's forcing anyone to do BU now. You can just as easily choose another track. Though I'm quite partial to BU now. I just want to make sure you're receiving what is given. I want to help you, Robin, but if you're not going to do the assignments, there's only so much BU now can do for you, you know?
I get it. I appreciate it. I'll do it. Thanks. Shit. Sorry. See you next time.
Wait a minute. Don't leave yet. Robin, do you even want to be here?
Yes, I do. I really do. I'm really interested.
Okay. I want to make sure you're into this. I notice you in the sessions, Robin. You're carrying a lot of tension. Sometimes I wonder, why is she even here if she's not going to give it her all? So, how about we do this? Don't worry about editing or judging what you write, or if anyone will read it. That's not important. But I'm going to give you a little push so I can see a little more accountability from you. I'll email you a prompt or task at 8 p.m. on random days. Just get the response in to me by 10 p.m. Simple. And we'll see how it goes.
Oh, it's okay. I'll really write more detailed journal entries.
No. Let's give this a try. You do want to keep coming to BU now, right? It would be a shame if you left. If you leave, they would probably want to fast-track you in another track. And personally, the other tracks won't teach you anything compared to BU now.
Of course. I can see how it goes. And it may not look like it sometimes, but I'm trying really hard.
Thanks, Robin. You really have a lot of potential, you know, even if you don't realize it yet. I'll see you next session, yeah?
See you then. Thanks, Elizabeth.
Has she messaged you with anything yet?
Only just recently.
What did she tell you to do?
She told me to record myself talking about my experience working on my last photography project. You know, the one about industrial decay. But see, I don't know how she could have known about that. I never brought it up. I think it means that she knows my last name.
Don't worry, that still wouldn't link you to the investigation.
Yeah, maybe it's okay. She can't Google my full name and find sporadic phantoms. But still, how could she have gotten it? And it's like she's telling me, you can't hide from me. I wonder what other information she could have about me. Well, that was a lot. We covered all the points we wanted to talk about today. Should we just wrap it up until we call the FWS back tomorrow?
Wait, guys, this is not cool. Aren't we going to do something about this?
What do you mean? We are doing something. Lots of things.
No, this is getting ridiculous. I'm sorry, but we all know BU now is the cultiest part of the sharing. Full stop. We have to find a way to know if Share the Truth was sharing the truth or not.
I'll just have to see what else I can gather from BU now. You know, the assignments, talking with Elizabeth. If I could just collect more real evidence, then...
Robin, you can barely have your phone around Elizabeth to record her anymore. And Kyle's not going to record her. Let's face it, we aren't cult experts. But can't we talk to someone who is?
Like who?
Well, this has been on my mind ever since I suggested that we should find some outside experts. I've actually already been looking into some people who help get cults shut down, who get people out of cults. I have some of them bookmarked. See?
How do we know if any of these people are legit?
Well, I only bookmarked people who looked legit, Kyle. They're either academics, licensed counselors, or both. Here, take a look.
Well, do you think they'd be able to tell if the sharing is making people do anything against their will? Well, it's one thing to have them say something looks suspicious. We already know that much. Do we actually have enough material to show for them to classify the sharing as a cult?
I don't know. My deleted recording could have helped out in that regard. And now that we're having a harder time recording BU now, there is only so much info we can get.
Well, we have that whole session with Jess and Harold, and we have the recording I just took of her.
I don't know if that's enough for an expert to make a definitive judgment if that's what we're looking for. It's only part of the big picture.
Yeah, doubtful they could conclude it's a cult from those recordings.
I don't know, Stevie. What? Oh, wait. Look at this guy.
Who? On this site?
Richard Dolan, private cult investigator. Dolon.
What's so special about him?
Well, it looks like he doesn't only offer counseling, intervention, or recovery services. He also does something called high control group practical analysis. And most of these experts are in other states, but Dolan is not far from us. I think that means instead of just getting a phone call with some academic living in another state, we could hire this guy to physically go to the sharing, spend some time doing his own investigation, and give us his professional analysis. We should have had him do this for us in the first place.
Hire him. How much does he charge for something like that?
Let's see. Oh. Woof. Never mind.
We can still hire him. No worries.
How? We aren't exactly getting rich from our Patreon.
Well, I got us a much bigger sponsor this month, meaning extra cash for us.
Should we go to the commercial then?
Yeah, then we can break for the day. I'll send this guy an email when I get home.
Don't forget, first thing tomorrow, we have to call back the FWS.
For sure.
All right. See you on the other side.
Sporadic Phantoms will resume after these messages.
How can you make the junior hamburger in our Happy Meals even more hamburgery? How do you make our crispy chicken kids wraps even wrappier? How do you make the 4-piece McNuggets even more nuggety? 2 words. Extra happy. That's right, it's here. Previously available at only one McDonald's franchise. The Happy Meal with Extra Happy is now available exclusively at 250 additional locations across the country on our main menu. And you know what that means? For those who don't know, you might be wondering, what is Extra Happy? Do you get both the boy and the girl toys? No way. How about extra cheese? Nope. Extra juiciness? Not a chance. Our burgers are already plenty juicy. What you get is 1% low-fat milk, a junior hamburger or chicken McNuggets made with white meat, crisp, ripe apple dippers, as well as a perfectly nutritious meal in no time. Just ask for a Happy Meal with Extra Happy, and our friendly staff will be able to help you out. We're spreading a smile across the face of America at McDonald's. An excellent source of happiness.
Ba-da-ba-ba-ba. If you know, you know.
Welcome back to Sporadic Phantoms. You're never going to convince me to accept sponsorship from a supporter of factory farming ever again.
We could use the money, Kyle.
We're juggling our other freelance work with all this. Now that we're spending so much time on the investigation, we couldn't pass that one up.
First the car dealership, and now this? Sometimes I really question our ethics.
How is McDonald's significantly different from Cinnabon, which uses tons of dairy products?
That was a commercial for the mall, not Cinnabon. You know what? I'm just going to shut up.
This is U.S. Fish and Wildlife Special Agent Justin Scott.
Hi, I'm calling about an anonymous tip that was submitted yesterday morning, number...
Right, we got a big cat being kept in an indoor facility.
Oh, yes. Did you listen to the file we sent in the email, too?
We did.
So, what are you going to do?
Well, since we don't have anything else to go on, but you say a vet confirmed this was a big cat, the only thing we can do at this point is get a search warrant and take a look at the premises.
Really? That's great.
Now, you said this facility was the sharing place?
No, just the sharing.
Hi, Agent Scott. Do you know what day and time you'll conduct the search?
I'm heading over there with my partner this evening.
Tonight?
Wow, that was fast.
If it's a big cat being kept illegally caged, that's no good. But indoors with no windows, no doubt that would be criminal neglect of an animal, not to mention dangerous.
Is this going to be like a big thing? Are they going to see a bunch of police officers barge into the community center?
This is plainclothes detail, ma'am, and we try not to escalate situations we don't have to. Most of the time, folks will cooperate with us.
And what happens if you find evidence of a wildlife crime?
We tend to take the long view with these kinds of situations. If we find anything, it could lead us to a bigger investigation, which, Who knows, could take a number of months or years. Now, to make it easier for us, do you know of a particular person in the organization who we might be able to approach to give us access to their basement?
We do. His name is Hedrick Chapman. He should be there outside of public school hours.
All right, thank you for that information.
Can we check back in with you tomorrow about the results of the search? Even if it's just the beginning of a bigger search?
We most likely won't have a result or a conviction right away if we do find anything suspect. But yes, you can call this number again and we can update you. Is there anything else I can help you with?
That's all. We'll definitely check in about this later.
Alrighty then.
Good luck, Agent Scott.
Thank you, Agent Scott.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Guys, should we go there tonight?
Should we try to record the search?
I don't think we should be anywhere near the community center when the search is happening. We don't want them to think we're involved in any way. I have to go get Maddie again after her after-school thing there today, but I'm not sticking around.
I can't believe this is actually happening. I know you're worried about not getting enough evidence, but this is going to blow everything out of the water.
Speaking of which, Stevie, did that cult guy get back to you?
Oh yeah, he got back to me quick.
So how does it work?
I sent him a summary of what we've observed. He needs to look at our materials, of course, and he also wants to talk to us before he goes in and does his own investigation, however he does it. I told him we were meeting today anyway, and he said he could meet us this afternoon.
Today? This is happening fast. Do we have to prepare anything?
He just wanted to meet us in a secure location, in person.
So he can meet us here.
I don't know about that, guys. Inviting someone into our studio? It would be secure for him. Would it be secure for us? Can we trust this guy? Doesn't he have an office?
I don't think he works out of a physical location.
I get your concern, Kyle. I really do. If you're worried, let's be anonymous with him too. Don't tell him our last names. Don't let him see you type any passwords. And let's make a temporary new Google Drive and put only the copies of the files we want him to see in there. Don't even let him see our main database. Would that make you feel better, Kyle?
Marginally.
What are you so worried about?
The sharing is using some strange surveillance methods. I don't want him to plant a bug in here on top of what they're already doing.
He said he'd never heard of the sharing until he read my email. He's a random, unrelated person. We need to be on guard, but no need to get paranoid.
I'm doing a sweep of this place once he leaves.
I am totally on board that journey for you.
What?
Nothing. Just a BU now thing. Never mind.
A few hours later, we got a knock on our studio door.
Hi. Oh, sorry. We didn't order a pizza.
I know. I thought I'd bring one over. Richard Dolan, PCI. That's Private Cult Investigator.
Oh, yes. Come in. Robin.
Stevie.
Kyle.
I hope you don't mind me intruding on where the magic happens.
What magic?
Stevie wrote that you three report on a particular organization from this studio.
Oh, I wouldn't call us reporters, but yes, this is the place.
Here, you can put the pizza on the table.
Please, feel free to help yourselves. It's veggie lovers.
Great, thanks.
No, thank you.
No pressure. I just always find that meeting over a good meal helps me get to know who I'm working with. We're dealing with human beings here. Let's work with a little humanity, for Pete's sake. As you've probably read on my website, my speciality is investigating and analyzing potential high control groups, more commonly known as cults. My question for you investigators is, you've been investigating the sharing for how long? And you say that you still have not come to an agreement as to whether or not the sharing is a cult. Why is this?
It's complicated. There are many sides to the sharing. They have a program which instills the values of the sharing through use of emotional control, though any path in the sharing could lead you towards becoming a member. But we still can't figure out what full membership means. The members speak secretively, using code we can't decipher. I think it must be a cult, but we could use your professional opinion, especially because we aren't too sure where to look next.
Yes. Even the most typical private investigators have trouble investigating such groups properly. They lack the sensitivity, the knowledge, and the eye. Based on the preliminary information Stevie sent to me, which I pored over well into the night, yes, the sharing is certainly a cult.
Wait, you can already tell?
But of course. Let's look at the definition of a cult. A cult is a social group that is defined by its unusual religious, spiritual, or philosophical beliefs, or by its common interest in a particular personality, an object, or goal. Would you not say the sharing fits this definition?
It does, but, I mean...
But whether or not the sharing is a cult is not your true question, is it?
I thought that's what we needed your help with? That's literally our question?
No. By coming to me, it's clear you already know the answer. What you need to understand is that not all cults are necessarily dangerous. It's a common misconception, and there is an incredible amount of bias and prejudice towards cults, when so many of them are completely innocuous. Beneficial, even. Those aren't the ones that get the most press coverage. So, let's not beat around the bush about why you've summoned me. You don't need confirmation that the sharing is a cult, you want confirmation that the sharing is dangerous or destructive, and that if it's indeed a high control group, then who are the controllers?
Yes, that's exactly what I was saying before.
Yes, you three already have all the evidence and the first-hand experience you need to know that you are in a cult.
Hold on. In a cult?
You're participating in a full member track, Robin. Stevie, you're involved with plenty of the sharing's activities with your niece. Kyle, you volunteer your time immensely to the sharing. All three of you are in a cult.
But we don't really believe in the sharing's philosophies. We're not full members, and none of us would ever fall for that.
Inner circle, outer circle, somewhere in between, it doesn't matter. Most people in cults aren't in the upper echelons, and they're still in the cult nonetheless. By all appearances, regardless of your intentions, the truth lies bare. You are in a cult. Now, by becoming overly involved in the sharing, you've severely limited your ability to work objectively and access information. Therefore, you need someone like me to come in and reveal the truth. Someone with the sensitivity, the knowledge, and the eye. This is something I can do for you.
How does this work?
I'll need to see your relevant files, which you have most likely quite illegally recorded. I read between the lines of your materials and focus on your blind spots, areas you have neglected or lack the capabilities to access. Then, I go into the organization with a feather touch. No need to become involved, and get the information you want.
How long will that take?
I work quickly. Give me 1 month.
What do you need from us?
All of the evidence which you have collected so far.
Everything?
I am nothing if not thorough.
Richard, we had a recent issue with hacking. One of our files was deleted. We just need to be able to trust that our information is secure with you.
Once I receive your materials, I place them in a secure, encrypted digital location. I take pride in handling my clients' information with great care. Read my Yelp reviews.
We talked to Richard a while longer, giving him context to the materials we gave him. We paid him half of the payment up front. He left after that, leaving the rest of the pizza for us to enjoy.
He seemed pretty no BS. After so many BU Now sessions, that's really refreshing.
It was nice of him to bring us a pizza.
We aren't nearly as oblivious as he thinks.
He was giving it to us straight.
He seems to know what he's doing. We have to have a little faith here.
And a little humility.
This goes wrong. It wasn't my idea to hire him.
The next morning, we met in the studio again as planned.
You know, when I woke up today, I felt better about this. Soon, this could all be over. We may not even need to hear Richard's results.
U.S. Fish and Wildlife.
Agent Scott, I'm calling regarding tip number again.
Oh, you.
Did you and your partner search the basement of the sharing?
Yeah, we did.
Did you find the tiger? What's going to happen to the sharing?
Listen, we went into the sharing. We easily accessed their basement. Mr. Chapman was really confused to see us, you know. And when he let us down there, you know what we saw?
It was animals, wasn't it?
A leaky boiler. No animals to speak of, no cages, nothing. I told them they should call the gas company. Listen, I don't know what you're trying to pull, or if you're just delusional, but assholes like you, thinking they can waste our time with nonsense, that's a waste of the American taxpayers' dollars. We're closing out this tip. The next time you want to exaggerate and fabricate evidence, try posting it on a conspiracy theory website.
God, I should have known.
Known what?
That it wasn't a tiger?
Don't you see? We should have never contacted U.S. Fish and Wildlife. They work alongside the Forest Service. And we know the Forest Service was intentionally hiding information about Dapson, Matcom, and the sharing. Hell, the sharing secretary works for the Forest Service. The government agencies are covering this up together. How could I have been so naive?
Kyle, have you considered you could have been wrong about it being an animal?
Was Dr. Green wrong then too?
I mean, yeah.
Then what the hell was that noise down there?
Both of you heard something. Is it really just plumbing, though?
They moved it. They moved the tiger. They knew we were going to search the basement.
We still have to hear from Dolan. Maybe he'll be able to shed some light on all this confusion.
Gah, I don't know how long we can wait.
We're just going to have to be patient and wait for him to do his thing.
No, I mean, I don't know how much longer we have until the investigation is entirely compromised. Until we have to stop entirely.
Sure, this is a difficult situation, but we changed all our passwords, and as long as Dolan is right about our files being in an encrypted location, we'll be okay.
The situation is more than just difficult. I didn't want to bring it up, but... You know how I mentioned the sharing has strange surveillance methods? I thought when Elizabeth was talking with Tom about killing birds in that early recording we got, she must have been referring to surveillance. Cameras, drones, Peter Stinton or Matcom watching them all the time. But then there was the hawk. Now I'm realizing birds wasn't a code word, it was literal.
You're still dwelling on that? The hawk was a coincidence.
You both haven't noticed it, but I have. There are hawks that are following us.
I appreciate your investigative eye, Kyle, but red-tailed hawks are super common to this area.
It sounds like a self-fulfilling prophecy.
No. When I get home, there's one in the tree outside. When I get in my car, it leaves the tree. I notice it out of the corner of my eye all the time now, even outside the studio window sometimes, looking in. There's probably more than one. They look like normal birds, but there's something else behind that fierce glare. The first time I saw one outside my window, it saw me. Its eyes, its fierce eyes, looked straight at me. And it saw me. It saw me.
How long have you been noticing them?
For the last few weeks. I didn't want to tell you guys, because I knew you wouldn't take me seriously.
You know how this sounds, right?
If there's animal experimentation happening, it's possible. Is the bird a drone? Does it have some kind of computer implant? A camera in its eye? There it is again!
Where?
In the tree, outside.
Oh, I see it. Kyle, I know you're really attuned with nature, but... Hey, Stevie, how long has the light on your webcam been on?
What? I must have left it on.
Dolan didn't touch our computers while he was here, did he?
He didn't touch any of our stuff. Even with all the info we gave him, there's nothing that would allow him access to our computers. Of all people, we should trust him.
This isn't good. Doesn't matter if our passwords were changed or whether our files are encrypted. Hawks or hackers. Stinton's watching our every move.
That concludes episode 6 of Sporadic Phantoms, The Interference. Tune in next month for episode 7.
In our next episode, we'll hear the results of Richard Dolan's private investigation.
We can only hope that it will open up new avenues for our investigation.
But we'll have to tread carefully. Who knows? Maybe we'll have to make up a code language ourselves.
Special thanks to K.A. Applegate, Julie Becker, Scott Gagnon, Megan Griffin, Belinda Jew, Jess Lambert, Ryan Murphy, Daisy Noir, Max Pacheco, Abby Savoy, Callie Sierra, and Black Whimsy. And shout out to our Patreon supporter, Zai Serrell. We used your donation to complete our upfront payment to Richard Dolan, as we were short a couple dollars still, so thank you for your contribution.
If you'd like to help pay for these fancy mics we bought for this, you can visit our Patreon. Like we said before, we're using a secret email account now. But if you know any information about the sharing, or anyone we've mentioned, you can still tweet at us or join our Discord server. The links are on our website, sporadicphantoms.com.
We know we're not wrong about the sharing. We can't be. How much does the sharing know about us? Are they consistently one step ahead of us now? Are they really monitoring our every move? Is there still hope of someone out there being on our side? I hate to say it, but it seems like now we can't even totally trust our listeners anymore. Yeah, even you.